You know, we spend all this time building these incredibly complex schedules in Primavera P6, but are we even tracking the single biggest source of project delays? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden driver of most project timelines, procurement.
Let's just start with one number, 80%. It's a massive figure, and it represents a critical truth in our industry. But 80% of what?
Yeah, that's right. 80% of all your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing delays, they start in the supply chain. The real risk isn't just on the job site. It's hiding in data sheets, in purchase orders, on factory floors, months before anyone even thinks about installation.
So you gotta ask yourself a tough question. Is your schedule actually reflecting this reality? Or is it accidentally masking the biggest threat your project is facing? Well, let's find out.
Okay, first things first. To see the truth, we have to structure our schedule to mirror the real world, not some perfect world fantasy. It all starts with the foundation.
And here's the absolute #1 rule. Your schedule structure, the WBS, it has to separate procurement from installation. If you've got them all mashed together, you've already lost. You can't manage a risk you can't even see.
A professional procurement WBS needs at a bare minimum these 3 distinct phases. Now, why break it down like this? Simple. The risks and the responsibilities are totally different. An approval delay, that's a contractor issue. A manufacturing delay, that's on the vendor. You have to track them separately. And this is where we really start talking about those long lead items. You know what I mean? The big stuff. Your chillers, your transformers, the fire pumps. By their very definition, these things have enough power to control your project's finish date, so they absolutely must have their own dedicated logic chains. So here's a dead simple rule of thumb for you. If a piece of equipment is complicated enough that it needs a technical data sheet for submittals and approvals, then it's complicated enough to need its own dedicated set of activities in your schedule. Period. No exceptions. Okay, so we've got the structure set up. But that's only half the battle. Now we have to connect the dots with solid, unbreakable logic. And honestly, this is where most schedules just completely fall apart.
Look, every single piece of major equipment follows this exact path. It's not one big activity called procurement. It's a chain, 4 separate, distinct steps, and each one has to happen before the next one can start. Submittal has to finish before approval, approval before manufacturing. You get the idea.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got that classic mistake. One big bar for chiller procurement. Looks clean, right? But it's hiding everything. The professional standard on the right, that's where you build out the 4-step chain. That's what forces the schedule to acknowledge the real time and the real risk.
Seriously, if you take away only one thing about logic today, let it be this. The delivery activity has to be linked to the start of installation with a finish to start link. Without it, your schedule is basically saying you can start installing equipment that hasn't even shown up on site. It's a fantasy, and it will get shredded in any claims dispute.
All right, so you've done the hard work. You built the right structure. You forged the right logic. And now the magic happens. Your schedule finally starts telling you the truth. This really is that aha moment. All the guessing, all the finger crossing, it just evaporates. Because when you model the real-world sequence of events, you finally let the software do its job and calculate the genuine critical path.
And listen, when this happens, don't be shocked. For projects heavy on MEP, it is totally normal, in fact, it's correct, for your critical path to be running straight through the manufacturing and delivery of a long lead item. If your critical path is only showing site work, I'd bet money your procurement logic is wrong. Okay, but let's talk about how you can undo all this great work with a couple of really common and really dangerous mistakes. Let's call it schedule sabotage.
These two are the absolute worst offenders. Using a finish milestone for delivery, well, you're just hiding how long shipping actually takes. But even worse is applying a must-finish-by constraint. That doesn't make anything happen faster. All that does is force the schedule to lie to you, creating negative float and destroying its credibility.
And that gets us to a fundamental principle here. Your logic should create the dates. Constraints, they just destroy the truth. They're an attempt to force a date onto the plan, and then any dispute, a constrained schedule, is basically indefensible.
So let's bring this all home. Why are we going through all this trouble? Because a schedule isn't just a pretty chart. It's a commercial weapon. It's about how you plan, how you protect yourself, and how you prove your case.
And this is where the power really lies. When your schedule's built right, figuring out who's to blame for a delay is dead simple. Vendor late shipping? That delay sits right on the manufacturing activity. Your team was slow with paperwork? the delay hits approval. It's clean, it's clear, it removes all the ambiguity.
So you see, this is way bigger than just telling a crew when to show up. A proper, logic-driven schedule helps you forecast your cash flow, manage your supply chain proactively, and most importantly, it gives you the irrefutable proof you need when you have to defend against or file a claim.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with a quick checklist you can use on your project today. Just go down the list and ask yourself these 6 questions. If you can't say yes to every single one, I guarantee your schedule is hiding significant risk.
And that's really what it all comes down to, isn't it? Every schedule tells a story about how a project is going to get built. The only question you have to ask is whether that story is the truth, based on real-world logic, or if it's a convenient piece of fiction. Because the answer to that question could define the success or failure of your entire project.